That's me playing the drums.
I'm not to record my screen then.
That's our
I
band.
don't have to record my screen then.
It's up to you. You can choose. I'm recording through this iPad up here. I'm just gonna go straight up here.
Our band is more like a hobby. This is something that I did earlier today.
I did it 49 hard minutes with Beto. My phone almost killed
Yeah,
me.
we play rock en español.
Ah, sí.
Sí.
Ah, con madre.
We play like some of the downside stuff.
That's the only downside. My Spanish is Geekdom, man. It's Geekdom.
Sí, sí.
En
Sí, todas las canciones en
Geekdom.
español.
Ya se van a andar peleando, ¿verdad?
So I'll start. My name is Isaac. I help organize the Ember ATX, that's the Ember Meetup in Austin. I also recently joined the Ember learning team. So if you haven't subscribed to the Ember Times, it's like the official newsletter. Please do so to support us.
Yes.
And of course, if you're new to Ember, I highly recommend that you join the Discord channel. And here you have the help channel where you can ask anybody for help. And oftentimes it's really this guy Melbox Popular.
Yeah.
He's very active, so he'll
Like
help
a
a
lot.
lot.
He's everywhere. He's everywhere.
Yeah. To me, like it's like he doesn't sleep. Alright. So we need smaller. So let me start with the finished app first. So the case scenario is this: you're a company who's trying to hire students, candidates. So you can see a list of all the students that you have. You can click on any of these students to see their details. You saw some animation there, right? And of course, you can navigate to some other students. And you can also search for the students who best meet the skills that you're looking for. So you can do filter. I'm just going to go ahead and click on some of the skills I'm looking for. So let's say I'm looking for Rails, maybe D3, Ember, Jira. And you notice that there's an animation there. The cool thing is that if I select authentication, it's going to appear to the left of Rails, and let's see what happens. So that's interesting. Of course, you can get rid of it, and that has some animation as well. So if I'm ready to submit it, it's going to do some kind of a fake query, and it highlights all the students that match the particular skills that I'm looking for. And of course, you can go to, again, click on any of these students to see their details.
Are the numbers based on their probability of them matching your search?
So these are some scores that I calculated. So these are
cool.
actual scores, but the way I decide how much score I'm gonna give, that's my own custom thing. Okay. So on the back, let me talk about the package that I'm using. So I'm using Ember Animated, so that's for the animation. And I'm gonna use this thing called Ember Data Storefront. So instead of using the default Ember Data, I'm gonna convince you guys that hey, Ember Data Storefront is better.
Yes.
Do you recommend it? For loading data, I think so. Yeah, I like it. I'm also using Ember Mirage to create fake data. So that's the fake data you're seeing your fake students, fake degrees, fake experiences, and so on. But also Rails server, so you can actually run it on an actual server. So that's the best JSON you get. And here we'll talk about modifiers a little bit. So I'm locally running a server, and here things are going to go wrong. So let me first show you what can go wrong with Ember data. Okay. So if I go to students, I see all the students. So far so good. But now if I click on, let's say Hoban, you notice that I'm seeing Hoban's email, phone, and the profile image, but not the education, experiences, and skills. Let's try somebody else. Let's click on April. It's the same thing. That's our same. The funny thing is, if I refresh the page, it'll be a different person. But this time I see all the information, the education, the degrees, the experiences, and the skills. However, if I click on somebody else again, I don't see that anymore. So the question is, what is happening here? So normally, when you load data, you do that in what we call route handlers. So here's the typical app folder that you see in Ember, and we have a folder called routes. And before I talk about models, before I talk about the route handlers, let me first tell you that I have 5 models: student, resume, degree, experience, and skills. And these 5 models are related to each other through relationships. So the student has many resumes, different versions of resumes, if you will. And each resume has multiple degrees, multiple experiences, and multiple skills. And it's really the relationships that make Ember data hard to use. Okay, so keep that in mind. Here's the route handler for students. So this is what gets called if I visit the student's student's route. There's a model hook, and it's very typical. This is store, and I call find all method to find all the students. I added a console log just to help the debugging. And similarly, if I go to a details page, that's done by the student route handler. Here's this guy. So again, it's very typical. This is store, find record, which finds a particular student. I pass the ID of the student, and I pass additional information that says, hey, give me the resumes, the degrees, experience, and skills along with the student. So I don't see anything wrong with that. Right? And it turns out the culprit is actually in the template. So this is the template for the student's grid page. So that's this component here. It's the grid of students. And can you see, and especially for Beto and Carlo, can you see what the problem might be?
I know.
Go ahead, I'm still hunting.
I know. You want me to?
Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Okay, the link to helper is passing down the model,
Yeah.
the whole model. So Ember skips the model route, the model hook.
Something that I didn't realize until so I was at the EmberCon, took all these classes. Until I took these classes, I didn't know it myself. And as just like Beto said, we're passing a model to the link to helper, and whenever we do so, Ember skips calling this model hook, and I can verify this using the console log. So let's check the console.
Huh.
So I'll start fresh. If I go to students, it says load all the students, so that's good. But if I click on one of the students, you see that I don't see the message load student, the particular student relation. So I know that this is being skipped. So even though Ember thinks it's being smart, I already have the model, so like, why should I fetch it again? Because we have relationships, the user is actually missing on the crucial data. So to fix this, it's very simple. Instead of passing the entire model, we always pass the ID of the model. And this way, we can ensure that Ember is going to call the model all the time. So let's save this. Let me start over. And you notice that now I see all the information.
Right.
And again, I think it's very easy to make. This mistake is very easy to make. Even the documentation, it suggests that it's okay to pass the model into photo. But it's kind of misleading because this example is simple. If it had relationships, it does later as comments.
You would need
You
a
wanna make
reference
sure.
ID.
Yeah. So what Sam and Ryan advocate is that we always pass the ID. They even create their own link to helper so that you can either pass the model or the ID, but it knows how to resolve both situations. So that's been fixed. Now I have another problem. So if I go to, let's say, Eileen, you'll notice that the education, experiences, and skills, they pop after some delay. So, okay, notice that? Suppose you as a developer or the user doesn't want to see that happen. I want to see all the information at once. How can I do that? And I guess the first question is, why is this happening? Why am I seeing the education experiences after some delay? And the second question is, can I prevent this? So to answer that question, we'll have to take a look at the route handlers again. So the find all method and find record method, they're kind of special. What Ember does is when it first encounters find all, it does a query. It gets all the students. But when it encounters for a second time, it tries to use a cache versions. So what's happening is because I'm going through students first, the list of students, it's going to call this method find all. So I have all the students, but just their basic information. So by the time I get to a particular student, that student's details page, I already have the name, the email, the phone, and the profile image. I don't have the degrees, experience, and skills just yet. So what Ember's thinking is, hey, I already have the data, the name, photo. So why don't I just go and show it? And then in the background, I'm going to try to load the degrees, experience, and skills. So now, so the second question, how do I prevent this from happening? So one typical way is we pass another parameter called reload.
Yep.
And we set it to true. And what this means is that at any time I visit a details page, I always reload the data. So let's see what happens. Let me just start over.
That's gonna make you reload like the name and the phone number and everything too.
Right. So if I click on W, I do see all the information at once. But if I go back and click on W again, you see the loading spinner again. Right? So I'm trying to load the W's information again.
Okay.
So the good news is, hey, I can see all the information at once. The bad news is every time I visit this page, I'm loading the data. So I lost the benefit of caching that Find Record provides. Good news is the Ember Data Storefront, that new add-on solution, helps me solve both problems. So instead of finding record, I'm going to use a method called load record that comes from Ember Data Storefront. And that's it. So now if I go to students, and let's say, let's take a look at Chanel. The first time, I'll see a loading spinner. The second time, don't. So I'm seeing cache version now. So it's that simple. You just have to change find record to load record. And there's some details in the model for the student. I have to import this loadable model that comes from the Ember Data Storefront, and I just have to extend it.
So what is Ember Data and what is Ember Data?
Yeah, so the Ember Data is the default Ember solution to managing the data set. So the model and the M of the MVC.
Okay, so it handles like caching, what you retrieve from the REST API or something like that. Okay, so the storefront just gives you better, more intelligence. Okay.
So there are other add-ons that try to do something similar, especially when it comes to relationships, because that's the hard part.
Yeah.
Ember Data Storefront is just one solution.
Nice.
And there's an analog. Instead of find all, I can do find records. Again, that handles both the caching and loading data at once.
Where is it caching to? Local storage or?
Memory.
Just memory, just variables in memory. Okay.
Okay, so that solved the student problem. So I call this a find record bug. It's like a bug in the find record method, right? There's another, I can say there's a bug with the find all method now. So I'll share with the other kind of interesting case. So this time I want to search for the students that meet the skills that I specify. So if I go from home to search directly, I'll see all the skills that are available. There are about 140 or so. That's good. This time, I'm going to go to students first. Let's take a look at Alban. So notice that this person has 6 skills. Now if I go to search, I only see 6 instead of the 140 skills. And if I go back to home, come back to search, this time I do see all the skills again. So again, that's not something desirable, right? We do want to see all the skills at once. So let's take a look at what's happening. I'm going to look at the route handler for search. Yep. Again, I'm using the default find all. So what's happening is when I go to a particular student details page, I'm loading some skills already, right? And then if I make a stop to the search page, find all, because it does the caching and the background reload, it tries to show those existing skills first, and then in the background it tries to load, if there are additional skills, it tries to load them. So that's why we saw only 6 in the beginning, but later when I came back to the search page, I saw all the skills. So just like with the student's route handler, like instead of using final, I'm going to use find, sorry, load records. So let's so again, if I go to search directly, I see all the skills. If I make a stop,
But why it doesn't get refreshed? I mean, the final does a background reload, so eventually the server responds with the skills. So why the UI doesn't show everything?
mm-hmm.
Do you?
Good question.
I mean, it is as I know, the final final returns on live array, like.
Yes. So I think that's because I'm not using this. I'm not using a model in the template. I'm actually using computer property.
Oh,
That might be why.
but so okay, storefronts is pretty awesome.
Yeah. So for loading data, I would use storefront. So it's kind of interesting, right? Find all. You never expect this kind of behavior to happen, right? You think that all the students, all the attributes in the student model, they are separate from the skills model. But as you develop, as your app gets more complex, you never know how these models might interact with each other. And that's why I think I'll use the Ember data storefront.
Yes. Yes, I had a really bad time with that.
Yeah.
I used
Same
the
here.
reload through approach.
Same
Didn't
here.
know about the storefront. I'll have a look at that.
So what Sam and Ryan, what they want to do is they want to make sure that this app is mature, so that they'll do an RFC to make sure that the Ember data storefront now becomes the actual default.
Oh, nice.
So I think that'd be really cool to see it. And then the last thing that I'm going to show, I might have to set this. It's called the N+1 query bug.
Oh yeah.
So this time I'm going to actually run the server, a real server. Oops. I'm on the wrong branch.
Okay, so David.
Get workflow.
Cuida tu celular. Hackear.
Well, that's being set it up.
Se jugaste. I've been there.
Goes to the machine.
Just one question.
Mhm.
You define controller sometimes, and sometimes you set properties in the setup controller. Is that you did in the past route? I mean, in the one you show us, in the last one you made the load records one. I think it was the skill sets.
Sorry, which file?
The past route you have a setup controller hook. I mean definition. No. Sorry. What? Really? Just never mind. Okay, that one.
Yeah,
No.
okay.
So why you set the properties there? I mean,
Oh.
is that
But yeah, so this actually kind of like what you're doing with the reset method. Because controllers are singletons, if you want to reset the properties, every time you visit this page, this is one way you can do it. You can use a set of controller hook.
oh okay.
Yeah.
So that's what you did.
It's like, because if I don't do it this way, suppose I type something in the query, this single field, and then if I go somewhere else and come back, this query is still in exists because it's singleton.
Okay.
So if I don't want that to happen, I can do something like this, or use the reset method that I showed us today.
Okay.
So I think it should be okay there. Okay. So I'm going to check the network tab. I'm going to show you the network tab for a sec. So if I go to students, I make one request to get all the students. But if I click on a particular student now, I mean this is the badly written version. And notice I'm making a bunch of requests. So here's one request to get the skill, resume, all the degrees, experiences. So we call this N+1 because first it's a template that's making the request. I'll show you that later. But what's happening is that if I don't do something smart, for each of these related data, it's going to make a separate request. So I just wanted to get one student, one request. But because that student has relationships, the degrees they experience and skills, for each of them, I'm going to make a separate request. So we call this N+1 query bug. So to fix this, you have to do two things. On the front end side, you would pass in this include query parameter. So this is for the JSON API. And say what I want to include along with loading the student. And in your backend, you have to allow eager loading. So you notice that I commented the include out, but if I put it back in,
Eager loading makes joins in the query. Or-
I'm not sure how it works in the backside. I've never worked with Rails myself.
Okay.
It's just magic to me.
Okay.
But you can check this response later. It does, the payload looks a little different because it is included. So this is something that you have to decide as your developer. Does it make sense to do eager loading or not?
Nice.
So let me show you, before I move on, let me show you the template that was making that N+1 query. So this would be in the student details component. This component shows the name, the image, and so on. So you notice further down, I have a for loop. It's the each helper in Ember. So if I don't have the degree, for each of the degree, Ember is going to make a call. So this causes the N+1. Similarly, if I don't have the experience with me, Ember is going to try to make another query for each of them. And likewise for skills. If I don't have the skills with me, it's going to do a separate query. So it's interesting, right? The template is something that you never expect to make the query is actually doing that. So how can I prevent this from, or how can I guess, check that this isn't going to happen? Well, the Ember Data Storefront provides it's a component. It's called a assertless preload. And what I can do is I specify the model that I'm going to check. It's a student model. And you get to specify which attribute, which relationship must exist before I load this component. So I'm going to make sure that the resume is there, and that resume has the degrees, the experiences, and the skills. Why is this right?
That's pretty awesome.
And before I do anything further, let me make sure, so by default, if you have a relationship, that relationship is going to be loaded asynchronously. I'm going to turn it off. It's something that, another thing that Sam and Ryan advocate that we do, because it's much easier to log and reason what's happening. Let me try this again, and I'll show you the console tab. Oops, sorry, I forgot one more thing. I need to turn off the eager loading. So here I'm trying to show you the Ember Data Storefront detects whether the N+1 query plug is going to happen. So this time it throws me a runtime error that says, hey, you did something, can you check for me?
Yes.
So I like it. Any questions so far? So that's all the data, the loading data stuff.
This is all coming from storefront, right?
So this error message, and the load breakers and load record, those come from Ember Data Storefront.
Wow.
Otherwise, it's just regular Ember.
I see why there's a lot of Ember and Rails.
Yeah,
getting
it's very
together.
similar, right?
Yeah.
Rails S, Ember S.
Or how the worlds intersect, you know?
Yeah, how they support each other.
Yeah.
So now that we can load data predictably, let's add some animation to make our website more dynamic, more lively.
It work.
Yeah, I'll show you this guy later.
EF1. It's kind of EF4, right?
EF4. Do you know what it's called? EF4.
EF4.
The number 4.
No.
It's actually ever following the 4. So you saw the final product, but when I click on these skills, there's no animation right now. So it just pops. So would like to add some animation so that when I add a skill, the rest of the skills just slide smoothly. If I click on a skill, I select the skill to remove it, again that adds animation. So let's see how we can do this. I'm going to go to the route template for search. So this is the part where I get to specify what are my selected skills. I'm doing a for loop that says loop through the selected skills. I'm temporarily assigning the name skill, and I'm using this component I created called skill pill to show this nice oval here. And I'm also using this add-on called Ember composable helpers to help me sort the skills before I display. So here I'm sorting the skills by the category first. The yellows are the back end, the blues are the front end, and the greens are the miscellaneous. And then afterwards I sort by the name so that it's alphabetically shown. Okay. So this time I'm going to be, I was supposed to start with something else. So when you want to do animation in Ember, you have three options. One is just use plain CSS transition. So for simple things, you just use that because it's very cheap. You can also use a modifier. I'll show you how I did that later. And then thirdly, you can use this add-on called Ember Animated. So before Ember Animated, we had this library called Liquid Fire, but Ember Animated is supposed to replace it. If you don't mind, let me come back to this one later because I forgot to talk about modifiers. If I click on a particular student, details, I see all the information at once. Usually details page has a lot of information, so I feel like seeing all this information at once, it's kind of, it's overwhelming, right? So can I show, the idea is can I show these sections one at a time? So let me take a look at the student details template. Let me first show you how to use this modifier. So I'm going to call a modifier that I created called fade up.
You created that one?
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
You notice that?
Yep.
The name is fade up. It's that simple. Suppose I want to fade out the profile image as well. So two are now fading up. I can also specify a delay so that I can stagger the image. So let's say this one shows 100 milliseconds after. So you can now see like how you would stagger the wrist so that you have nice animation. So let's see how this modifier works. In the app folder, I created a modifiers folder, and inside it I have a JavaScript file called fade up. Here I'm extending an add-on called Ember modifiers. And the idea is that each of these modifiers, they modify a DOM element. So each of these hooks, they have reference to the element on which element, the element that I'm modifying. It's just this element. And to that element, I'm calling an animate method. This comes from the Web Animations API. It's just a function that accepts two parameters. The first is an array of keyframes. It says initially I start with opacity of 0, translates so 60 pixels below, and at the end I'm going to have an opacity of 1, and my final position is going to be 0 pixels. The second parameter is just an options hash. I get to specify what the duration and the delay are going to be. I can also specify the easing function and how I want to do the animation. Notice that this did receive arguments hook. Has two parameters, and it's the second one that I wanted you to take a look at. It's this option, it's just an object. Because it's just an object, I can pass whatever information I like to pass. I can pass in the duration. If I don't, by default it's going to take 2 seconds. I can also specify the delay. If I don't specify it, the delay is going to be 0 because of the default. So you can kind of start to think, the various ways in which you can modify it. It's very nice. Okay, so let's go back to the skills. So I'm going to talk about Ember Animated now. The idea with Ember Animated is it's supposed to help you easily replace your regular each, the for loops, and the if statements. So for any of these each, I can replace it with animated each. I'm going to pass in an additional information called transition. And that's it. So now if I click on this skill, let's say I'm on next up, click on this guy. Mongoose just moves, slice to the right. Really,
Oh, very
very nice.
Nice. Very nice.
And before I head further, let me show you one more thing. So let's suppose that after the fork, I have additional content. So there's additional content. Let's see what happens if I just click on it. Okay, so the more text, just, it's kind of odd, right, the animation. That's not something you want to see.
Okay.
So the Ember animated add-on allows you to create a container. That reserves space for animation, just for animation. Think of it as like a div element, right? But the idea is that anything that sits outside of the animated container, well, this add-on is going to take care of the position for you. So now if I click on it, more text just slides down. I didn't have to specify how it's going to do that. The add-on just takes care of that for me. So now I'm going to get rid of it. So here we go.
How did you just keep it in the end, at the end, like inline, instead of moving down to its own line? If you know offhand, I'm just curious.
So you want the more text to be like here?
Yeah.
I might have to get a combination of just regular CSS, like reserve space.
Okay.
I wonder if there might be another way.
Isn't it a span? Or is it in a div right now, or a span?
The more text or
Yeah.
these?
Yeah, the more text.
More text is just
Not even
nothing.
in
It's
a-
just
yeah.
text.
Oh, okay.
If you wanted to give you just a quick, I have to say it nice, is like prefix all your properties with at or this. That's simple. It's just a way to know where I can find that skill. This
Oh.
template is coming from.
Right.
That's
Because
the that's the basic
yeah.
bare bones of Octane.
Right now I'm using, well, this one is just Ember 3.9, so it's not, this is not Octane yet. But
Yeah.
for Octane, you'll see the difference. This, well, this skill is skill that comes from here, but
Yeah,
this
yeah.
transition actually comes from the controller that's associated with the route. So to help us easily remember that, I would say this that transition. So I'll have to change it later.
And that transition,
And yeah, so that's, oh, let's talk about
that's
what is this transition?
right.
So this is defined in the controller. So here's the definition.
Oh.
So star means that this is a generator function. This is the shortcut. So transition is a generator function. And generator functions are just your regular functions, but has additional capabilities. One thing is that it allows you to yield intermediate outputs. It allows you to check what the intermediate states are. It also allows you to check what the current state is when you enter this function. So this is my current state when I first enter this function. And it's very declarative. So in Ember Animated, it has 5 types of sprites. Here I'm using 3 of them. So first is called inserted sprites. So these are the elements that are being added to the container. I also have kept sprites. These are the sprites that are going to continue to exist. And then I have the removed sprites. These are the elements that are going to be removed from the container. For each of these types, and quite possibly for each sprite, I can define what should happen. So for each of the inserted sprites, I just want to let it fade in. For each of the ones that are continuing to exist, if it is being faded in, so it hasn't finished fading in, if that makes sense, it's going to continue to do that. Otherwise, it just moves to its final position. I didn't have to tell it. I didn't have to calculate the position myself. The Ember Animate does it for me. And likewise for the remove sprites, I'm going to fade out, and here I'm moving to the bottom right corner of 60 pixels and 80 pixels down. So that's how you do it. It's very simple. So we talk about animating each. let me next talk about animated if. So these are the if statements. And where I'm going to apply this animated if is on the navigation. You notice that there's a highlight below the current route. It'd be nice if there's a smooth transition between pseudo search. So let's see how we can do that. So this is a component, it's a navigation drawer, and here's the if statement. If the nav item, this is just an object, if that route matches the current route, I just draw a highlight below the text. It's simple. Okay? So again, with Ember animated, change your ifs to animated if. Let me move this into the line just for clarity. And just like before with animated each, I can specify my transition. And for this example, I'm going to pass an additional parameter called group. And you could just specify some kind of string. So the idea is that there are 3 div elements, right? One for each of the routes. I'm going to group these 3 div elements and tell Ember animator this is actually just one div. That makes sense. Just one highlight. It's not 3 separate highlights, it's just one. Let me save this. Now if I go to statements, you see that nice transition there. You'll even notice that the size of the highlight also changes. So again, let's see how this transition is defined. Because this is a component, the transition is defined in the component file. Again, this is just a generator function. I'm using another type of sprite called receive sprites. But for each of these sprites, I'm just going to move to the final position, and I'm going to change the size, in particular the width, to match the text width. And that's it. So there are 2 more sprites. So one is the receive sprites, and the other is sent sprites. So these 2 families we use if you want to move the element from one component to another component. So going back to this template, you can imagine this as having 3 div string. So sorry, not that. It's a link to. So link to is just an anchor tag. So because of the flow loop, this is what's happening. And here's some highlight. So I want to make sure that this highlight jumps from this anchor tag to select, say, this one. Does this make sense?
Yep.
So that's, I can do that by using the receive sprites instead of, say, insert sprites or remove sprites. So that's, so these 2 give me more power.
I don't get it, dude.
So you're
It's
talking about
time.
like moving it like from the left side to the right side?
Mhm.
Wow, that's many components.
Yeah, I like it because I didn't know like how else I would do this. Like I would have to use some kind of library of material library if I wanted this kind of animation. But Ember Animator allows you to do that.
Okay. So you could use the same mechanism if you're on the search page to can you click on one of those? So right now they just kind of disappear and then
you can
reappear.
like try to move it physically.
Yeah,
if you wanted to.
That's pretty cool. That'd be very difficult in a lot of frameworks.
Yeah, so for my tutorial, I've just covered the animated each and animated if because it's complicated enough. If you want to do more complicated stuff, definitely check out the Ember animation documentation. So there are these things called beacons that also do allow you to do more complex things. So one example that Sam showed me is like, suppose when I click on the submit button, all of these skills, they get sucked into, if you will, to the submit button. If that's what you want, you could do that. So, it's
And
really
other things.
your imagination is the limit.
When you create your Ember for the CLI, can you have this as a flag, or do you have to invoke this as a separate dependency with your creating here?
So it's just an add-on, which means that you can install it using the Ember CLI.
Oh, cool.
So normally what you do is, I would always check the documentation, but normally it's just Ember install, and then the add-on name. So in this case, it'd be Ember-animated. So that installs this package. That's your question, right?
When you're creating a new app, do you have to specify that you want to use this as a dependency, or does it?
No, so by default, when you do Ember new and then your app name,
Okay.
it doesn't have Ember animated.
Okay.
So if you want to use animation, you just install it separately.
Got it.
So yeah, if you want to learn more, check out the documentation. I'd also recommend that you check out the Inception field. So Edward Falconer is the guy who created the Ember animated add-on.
So now we have everybody moving. And we could bring a whole lot of friends in and we could have them going in and out at the same
That was a
time.
big hit last year.
Oh, dude.
He stopped one.
Yeah, it's kind of like a slow motion.
Figure themselves over time to adapt to the other ones coming in around them.
He's a boss, dude.
Yeah, he is.
So, where did all that stuff come from, right? We didn't say anything very complicated. Seems like a lot of magic going on here. Let's take a look. Wow, I have too many comments here. And it's really nice for diagnosing and debugging your animation. Let's just
So
slow
you
the
can
world
also install
down
this add-on.
and bring a bunch in
So
slowly.
actually,
Right. Now let's go into like bullet time. And now I can actually aim close enough to hit one and unsave it while it's still coming in. So if I click this guy and then turn time back up.
so
You
you
can
cancel
fly out.
that.
Right.
Oh, that was
La clave es la que
Well, it's really amazing that towards the end,
So
it shows us that we
this
can also
is the
address
same
accessibility.
Flexbox layout, the same template, it's just an animated each. But now I've applied a drag motion to it. But
Not this guy.
on the animation tree, I shouldn't make your test support. So I can say things like top to new places about how other frameworks have nicer drag and drop
You can
templates.
find. Yeah, so this guy, there's an earlier talk by Melanie, she addressed accessibility. So Edward Falconer was like, hey, I can do accessibility with this add-on. So like, and within that short few hours span, I think he was able to create access to keep the controls as well. That's really impressive.
He actually made the Ember out import add-on too.
Yeah, that's the kind of
NPM
product.
is
Yeah.
It's really smart.
Into Ember.
Grunts are giants, man.
Yeah, so I'll post this link. This is my blog where I talk more in detail and a bunch of things that you can take a look to learn more about loading data and animation. You can also download the repo as well.
Awesome.
How can we find you?
You can find me on LinkedIn. My handle is IJLECHU.
Do you have Twitter or something
I
like that?
don't have Twitter.
Okay, let me just.
Yeah, I quote him as Isaac from Ember at Awesome.
Okay,
But
Discord. This is Crunchy Numbers Live. Mostly about math, but sometimes Ember. So, yeah, any questions?
I guess I love to experiment with.
Yeah, I spent like a week working on this. I lost a lot of sleep as well. It's really fun, especially the animation side. So I highly encourage you to test it out and see what you can create with it.
man, thank you so much for your wonderful talk, man. Everybody give it up hard for Isaac. That was amazing, guys. If I haven't said it enough, I know that this is a Saturday night during Fiesta in San Antonio, and but to me, this is kind of a momentous occasion. Ember San Antonio first meetup, and the fact that y'all came out here when y'all certainly didn't have to, out of your busy time, I really appreciate it, and I look forward to you guys coming out here again, man. And I'm definitely a resource. I'll buy it like a baby one. I'm like a baby Ember resource at this point, but my skills are getting stronger every single day, and so I think we all have ways we can connect. Yeah, it's been great, man. And y'all have any questions? Anybody else here, or anything else y'all want to share? Anything else?
I guess just the repos, like, so the wider community, let's just upload the videos
Yeah.
and can benefit from.
See, I already have your Octane e-commerce already cloned, so I'm gonna start playing around with it, and definitely I'm gonna get the same info from you. And I'm already linked up on Discord. Anybody on Discord? I recommend sign up to the Ember.js server so you can kind of locked in there.
And he was saying we should upload the videos so that other people can access.
Oh well,
it.
yeah, that was actually requested. So it's like I lost like 12 minutes of time, and then like 8 minutes because I think my phone just said no more memory. Or I don't know, something. But either way, I'm gonna upload both of the talks. If there's a title, I'm gonna go ahead and sign off.